What was life like in South Central?
Okay, so I grew up in gang culture.
When was it that your family, you and your mom and your siblings even were like, okay, we'll go to
Let's get
Ghana?
down with it.
Yeah.
The mindset shift started happening on that road trip from the airport to the Airbnb.
Have you found doing business in Ghana has any challenges compared to if you were in the US?
Yeah.
You exploring all over the place. I want to know what's your favorite place so far in Ghana that you've been? Hello, my name is ivyprosper, and I'm telling stories from Africa and the African diaspora. Today, I have a young man who is doing some amazing things right here in Ghana. He moved from South Central L.A. to Ghana 4 years ago. And as a matter of fact, his family members also moved to Ghana. And it has been a real journey, and he says he's living his best life. So I can't wait to have a conversation with him today. We met at an influencers fest that happened recently, and I've been watching him online. I've just been loving what he's doing. And so I wanted to have a conversation with him today, and for you to know what he's doing and learn more about this young man who has made this incredible move to Ghana. Roman, I'm so excited to have you here
Yes,
today.
thank you for having me.
When I met you, it's like a month ago. I think it's a month ago now. I think in the Influencers Fest.
Yeah.
That's when I first met you.
That's a month ago?
Yes, it's almost a month, isn't it?
Wow.
Is it almost a month?
21st
Oh no!
of December.
You know what? I'm losing track of time. It
Yeah,
was only the
it's going-
21st.
Yeah, the 21st.
Was it the 21st? Not
Or
the 14th? Oh, it was the 20th.
Yeah, I think I had to be the 20th.
It was the 20th.
Yeah,
It was the 20th.
yeah,
You see,
yeah.
all the time is coming together with all of the holiday season, everything happening.
Yeah.
I'm like losing track of time. Okay,
it's okay.
excuse me.
It's
It was
okay.
just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
a couple weeks ago.
Yes, at the Influencers Fest.
Yeah.
You are a young man who's doing some really good things with your philanthropy, and then being an entrepreneur. You're a businessman at such a young age. I want to talk a lot about that, but I want to first start off our conversation with the fact that you came from South Central L.A.
Yes.
and then you've moved to Ghana.
Yeah.
I want to know, what was life like in South Central?
Okay. My life was good in South Central. But it's good because you make it good, you know. I come from a gang culture community. I grew up in Leimert Park. So if you have been to LA or if you know LA, you know where Leimert Park is. The area I grew up in was like around the 40s, which is a gang. So a lot of my friends that I grew up with that, you know, we were very close are now like either a part of the gang or, you know what I'm saying, something in that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in gang culture. My brother was from a gang. I just so happened to be the middle child. So growing up, he put my family through a lot of hell. And then my mom, she was a single mom. She became a single mom eventually. And then after she went through all of that, she said, all right, Roman, you're not going to this school. You're not going to this school. So she didn't let me go to Crenshaw. Crenshaw was like the top high school at the time in my area.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to a whole different school. I had to go, like, it was just
Like a different
a lot.
district kind of
Yeah,
thing?
like a
'Cause I know in the
different
US,
district.
they have these like rules of if you live in this area, you can only go to these
you
schools.
can only go to these schools. Yeah. So, you know, I had a very unique upbringing. Very, very unique. Very
What made
deep.
it unique?
I mean, I think because I had to be independent very young. Yeah, so my mom being a single mom, I had 3 siblings. My brother wasn't really as reliable because he was, you know, in the streets and things like that. And then my sister, she was too little to do anything. So my mom like relied on me to be the man of the house.
At a young age.
Yeah. My dad, I think he was a drug abuser. So if he wasn't in the streets doing drugs, he was in jail. And that was my childhood for the most part.
He's still in South Central?
Yeah, he's still in South Central LA. And I'm still trying to work on that relationship with him too. So, you know, it is what it is, but that's my upbringing. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot of trauma. And I think the trauma that I've been through, I don't want to like downplay it because it is what makes Ghana so special for me. So all of the gang culture, gun violence, I've had many guns pointed at me. I've been robbed at gunpoint at an early age. What else can I say? I mean, I've been through it all, you know, as far as just toxic community, events that happen to someone. So
That's really, really, like I'm listening to it and thinking how sad that is that you experienced that.
yeah, it's
And
life.
that you were resilient enough that you still came out
found a
okay.
way to believe in myself that I would be greater than picking up a gun and taking somebody's life.
Do you think that your mother had a lot to do with that?
I think so, because she gave me a reason to be bigger than the next person. Yeah. So actually, I said this before somebody asked me, like, oh, where did your career start? My career started when I seen that every time I would ask my mom for money, she couldn't give it to me. And it was like, like she felt bad that she couldn't give it to me. And we just didn't have it, So if I wanted to have new shoes, if I wanted to, buy food at school, like anything that was like a luxury, I didn't have access to it.
And food at school shouldn't be a luxury. It's
Yeah,
food.
Yeah, I mean, in most cases, the food at school is okay, but it's not at the same time, It's like, it's government food, so they give you, packaged stuff, and then if you don't know no better, you don't know no better. So that was where my career started, was, I would say, elementary school.
So what did you do to make money?
My first hustle started, I went to a liquor store and I bought a 25-cent pack of gum. And then I think I stole like maybe 4 bags of Mike and Ike's. And then I took that to school and I sold it, and I like nickel and dimed it. So I opened up the pack of gum, sold each stick for 25, and then I sold the Mike and Ike's. I think I sold like maybe a few pieces, for like a quarter. And then that was when my hustle started, and I just would go to different grocery stores. I would buy the candy and I would take it back to school, resell it. And that was the start of my career for real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was better than selling drugs or anything like that, So I would say I'm like the drug dealer, but I was dealing with candy, chips and stuff like that. Yeah.
Candy and chip dealer.
Yeah, candy and chip dealer. Yeah, sometimes soda on Fridays. Yeah.
And so with doing that, what do you think inside of you made you see that this could be business later in life, because you're an entrepreneur now? Like, do you think that those early beginnings of your life are what led you to becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, definitely that experience. I think my grandma had a lot to do with my mindset. So she would pick me up from school and she would just tell me little things about being a millionaire. She would mention things like, yeah, Oprah, she's a millionaire. Robert T. Kiyosaki at the time, I don't know what she knew about him, but, she would just like identify these different elements in life and like, yeah, Roman, like you could be a millionaire too. And I think we will watch this show called Do You Want to Be a Millionaire or something?
Yeah, I remember that
show.
show. Yeah, game show.
Yeah. And I would sit in front of the TV and just be like wondering, all right, how can I make $1 million? I would talk to my grandma about it, like, Grandma, how can I make $1 million? And what she instilled in me was saving. So after she told me that, oh, okay, all you got to do is save to be a millionaire, I started saving everything. And so when we first moved to South Central L.A., we had to stay with my grandma because we didn't have nowhere to stay. So we were staying with her during a time. And the money that I saved ended up being the down payment to our first apartment. Yep. And then
wow.
I didn't know that at the time, because every time I make money, I just come bring it to my grandma so she could store it in her treasure box. She had like a jewelry treasure box, and when you open it up, it has like a little secret compartment, and you can hide stuff in there. So she would hide all the money in there. And then one day I'm like, all right, Grandma, like, I think I know what I want to buy. I think I wanted to buy like a toy car or something like that. And I was like, can I have some of my money? And she was like, oh, Roman, we spent that money on your apartment. And I was like, so you mean to tell me I paid the rent? She was like, yeah, I think at the time I was like maybe 4 or 6. I was young. I hadn't even graduated elementary school yet. So,
but you were 4 or 6? Oh, you mean 14?
No, 4.
4
years old. Yeah, between 4 and maybe 5 years old. I was still in elementary school. I was young. I don't even know nothing about having a girlfriend at that
Wait,
time.
4 or 5 years? That's like kindergarten.
Yeah, like it was it was either kindergarten or like first grade, second grade.
Okay,
Yeah.
first grade, seventh grade would be like 6, 7.
Yeah, but see, by the time we were in kindergarten, we had already had or going into the first grade, we had already had the apartment. So the money that she used was money that I had saved up. And then also I was going to church, and the church members would give me money when I was good. So when I was on good behavior, you know, they'll give me a $20 bill, $20 bill, $20 bill. So I was saving everything.
You were rolling in the money.
Yeah. But I didn't have access to it because I would just give it to my grandma.
And so what I would love to know is what prompted you and your family to decide to move to Ghana? Because you've been in South Central trying to make it day to day. Did you end up finishing high school and going to college, or?
Yeah, I did.
So,
So I did. I finished high school. I went to probably several different colleges. And that's a whole story in itself. But my uncle actually told me, I would say maybe in 2001, that he wanted to take me to Africa. And I believe I might have been, I think this happened in church. And it might have been 2001, around that time. So I was really young. And I think he had already made trips to Ghana, and he invested in some property in Accra.
I see.
Yeah, so
the Western region.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had this company called Hotel Paradise that, you know, he was gonna build this hotel in Accra Beach, and then also began building marinas so that, you know, boats can come and dock and things like that. So he had this whole vision for Ghana. He had brung my later aunties, my great aunties before they passed. He brung them over here, and he brung my other aunties, his sisters, over here. He just kind of introduced everybody to Ghana.
I see. So
like
did
way back.
Did he ever say what drew him to come to Ghana?
You know, I don't think I had
Or if
that
you remember.
conversation with him.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know that when he came here, something changed him. Yeah.
And so in him saying he wanted to bring you guys, when was it that your family, you and your mom and your siblings even were like, okay, we'll go to Ghana? Yeah.
So I remember this moment where my mom gave me these curry shells, and this might have been maybe 4th grade. And she was like, I want you to start saving up these curry shells. And your uncle said that this is what they use for money in Ghana. So she always cultivated the conversation and the idea of going to Africa. I didn't know exactly what part of Africa, but, you know, she was like, yeah, here's these curry shells, save them up, because one day you're going to go. And then during COVID, I think my uncle had been back and forth so many times where he was like, it's about time to go. So during COVID, you know, we sat in front of the TV, and my grandma was still alive, so we would go to her house on Sundays, you know, and just hoorah. And then at the time, I was the only youth that would show up. So everybody was always like at least a 20-year age gap, you know, but I'm the youngest one there. I'm always there, always present. So I was always part of the conversation of going. So we would sit in front of the TV, we would turn on YouTube, we would watch everybody that was streaming, you know, on YouTube. And we would try and materialize like how it's going to be if we buy a car and it breaks down, where we're going to get the tire. Like we was just, you know,
you were thinking
really
about all that
figure
stuff.
out, yeah, like before we got here. And so we made a whole plan. We opened up a Google Word doc and made a whole list, and this is what we're going to do. This is the days. And then I think at the time I was managing a restaurant for like 2 years. And at the time, the company that I was managing, they wanted me to like step up and take the keys, this and that. And I turned down the keys like maybe 3 times. I just didn't feel it in my heart that it was something I was supposed to do. And shortly after that, my mom was like, Roman, I'm just going to help you get this ticket to go with your uncle to Africa. And I was like, okay, you know, like I'll quit my job. I got like maybe $400-$500 saved up for this. So like, let's do it. And then we made the trip during COVID. So the airport was dead empty, you know, on my way here, which was an experience. So, but that was when we made the trip, was like during COVID, like the ending of 2019 going into 2020.
Oh, so that would have been early 2020 though, because 2019 the airports were crazy busy still because
Okay,
COVID.
so that was 2020 then.
Yeah, it would have been 2020 because
Yeah,
2019 was
it
lit year of return.
Yeah. So
and-
we didn't make it. We didn't make it to the year.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I never came.
Yeah, because then from there, you're probably getting the timelines all meshed up. Because I know a lot of people got timelines meshed up during COVID because everything's confusing because when things were closed, people were home. Because I remember that it was the airport in Ghana closed in March and was closed for 6 months.
Oh, really?
It reopened in September.
So then it had to be towards the end.
So the end of 2020. Is when the airport opened in September.
I think it was.
And then
September
everybody came. Everybody, like a lot of African Americans, people from, they were like, Ghana opened the borders, let's go. So lots of people came then.
So we came in September then of 2020 and we stayed for 3 months. So September, October, November. Yeah, so we stayed for about 3 months for my first trip. So yeah, that was 2020. Yeah.
And so when you came, what was your initial feeling?
The first thing I realized when I got off of the airplane, I remember, it was like very humid. Like the weather was just 100% different. I did have this like exciting moment though on the way here. I was crossing the Atlantic Ocean at the time and I just felt like this shift. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like this energy and I felt different. And it was like I was experiencing the freedom while I was on the plane, but I didn't know it was freedom. So, but I felt it. And so I started making music on my way here. And
you make music?
Yeah, I make music. And then the song that I made was crazy. I don't know how to explain it. I never made a song like that in my life, but I remember that experience, getting off of the plane. And then I had bought the phones that they use that you just put a SIM card in and it's just a dial pad. Like
the old phones. Yeah.
So
in Ghana, they call them yam phones.
Yeah, so I bought a yam phone at the airport, and then we got a van, and then we took the van to the Airbnb, and I think the mindset shift started happening on that road trip from the airport to the Airbnb. A lot of things that I seen that I'd never seen in my life, and it was just like all the curiosity, was there. I was very engaged with the streets. And in fact, I love taking a chocho because I like being close to the people. But now that like I've been here and I've worked and stuff, I don't
You're
like taking
no.
a chocho because it takes too much time.
It takes a lot of time. They stop everywhere. Like literally, they'll stop here and then like
they'll
2 meters down, they'll stop again.
Yeah.
And they'll be like shouting, trying to get people to come because they don't want to leave until it's full. You're just like, can we just leave?
Exactly. So
and get people on the way.
On the beginning trip, I fell in love with that. I was in love with it because I was so close to people, and I think there was like social distancing in the States before even COVID. It was like it was there, but it wasn't spoken of. So that
personal space.
Yeah, that personal space was a big deal. But in a chocho,
people be like right up like this.
And you like
someone's
you don't even
arm
know
is
the
on
person.
you, and
and then probably like 15 minutes into the ride, person knocked out on you. You're just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like this.
And when they have a baby, they might be like, hold my baby while they're doing something, and then they take the baby back, and you're
I had that happen. So they was like, okay, you hold on. I'm like, okay. So all that like family culture, it really impacted my mindset. And then I think the biggest thing for me was seeing the boys down the street, like locked arms. And I'm just like,
guys will hold hands, put their arms, and they're like, just
nobody's
friends.
saying nothing about that. I'm like, you could never get away with that where I'm from. So that's what really, I don't know, that was an experience that I just can never forget.
So you stayed for 3 months, went back, and then you came back again, right? So when you went back, does that mean that's when you were planning, okay, yeah,
Coming
we're
back.
going to come back
Yeah,
and stay?
yeah. The first trip was about figuring out where we were going to place the family. So me and my uncle just came by ourselves. We just wanted to get familiar, scout the land, see how things was, and then we would find a place for the family to move. So that was the goal. And so, you know, we accomplished that. And then my uncle, he'll tell you, by the first night, I was already gone.
Going where?
I met a friend. Friend was like, "Oh, I'm picking you up. We just going." And I'm like, "Let's go." And I was just outside. But the first night I got here, I was outside. Yeah, I was rolling.
Yeah, it's funny because people were on lockdown over there. Still, like 2021, people were on lockdown in a lot of places. Like it was like there was a mixture, and people would be watching and being like, "What's going on in Ghana? Why aren't you guys inside? Aren't you afraid of this
COVID stuff?"
Yeah,
but it wasn't like heavy like lockdown here. I mean, you had people wearing masks and you know, but it was different.
Yeah,
it's different.
There wasn't the lockdown happened before you came.
Yeah,
it was for 3 weeks in March.
Oh, really?
Yeah, March 2020. 3-week lockdown, 21 days lockdown. That was it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So okay. So since you came and you met some friends and you're having a good time, what kind of business have you been into with your entrepreneurship while in Ghana?
Yeah. So I invested in a manufacturing company here in Ghana, and we make it's like an artisan-based company. So everything is, you know, using your hands and machines. So we make luggage. We make laptop bags, backpacks, duffel bags, wallets, belts, hats, everything that's in that space of, you know, the only thing we don't make right now is clothes, which is something that I just got into maybe before this year came. So we're slowly growing.
What's the name of the brand?
Haven Made. Yeah, so Haven Made Global, that's our website, and we're in retail stores in the States. We're in one retail store in Los Angeles, and then we're currently working on another retail store in Texas that's being built, and we're going to be like the first luggage brand inside of that store. So, you know, we're growing slowly. It's one of the first things that I got into. It's a long story. Try and make it really quick. So when I was traveling, taking a chocho and stuff like that, one thing for me is part of my identity is how I dress. You know, that's what makes me feel good about myself. And so after moving around so long, I'm like, if I wear this, by the time I get there, it's gonna be sweated out. And
in the trotro,
just in general, unless you're in a car that's air conditioned, you know, you're gonna sweat. So I had to down dress, and then I would carry a lot of stuff. I had a big backpack, and my back would sweat out no matter what I wore. So I said, how can I save myself from sweating? And then so I had this idea to create this chest bag, and that was how I found the guy that I ended up partnering with to, you know, build this business. So found him, we made the product. After that, I was like, bro, you know, with what you're doing, like, I could take this even further if you give me a chance. And it took a lot of time because he didn't trust me. He had met people that said all different type of promises and stuff like that. And then so I was like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be moving to Ghana, and I need something for me to do to keep myself busy and to try and make some type of money, you know. So I said, you know what, like, I'm gonna work for you for free for 1 year, and if nothing works out, we don't have to work again ever again. And so that was when my philanthropy started. And at the time, I was already giving service to companies, and you know, I was doing it to make money and things like that. But for him, it was a very intentional thing. At the time, I was very like heavy in prayer. I was very heavy in the word, and I was just hearing clear from God on everything. So it wasn't like it was an idea that came. It was like, no, God spoke to my heart and told me to do this. And he's telling me to do this, but you're afraid of me like doing it. The
Right.
only way to get you to like not be afraid is to just tell you like, I'm gonna just help you for free for 1 year. And that's how I got the service across. And that was when my philanthropy started. That was when I realized my philanthropy was more powerful of a tool than my hustle. And so I started to just invest more into my philanthropy. How can I be a better philanthropist? And that just set the tone for everything. I mean, it opened up so many more doors for me than it did him at the end of the day. So yeah, I was like, all right, I'm a philanthropist now. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have you found doing business in Ghana has any challenges compared to if you were in the US?
I actually find doing business as far as transactions, much easier.
Here.
Yeah. The people that I deal with respect me. There is no bureaucracy. There's no, how should I say? There's no politics involved. You know, it's just like respect. The transaction happens, and then these people become like family. You know, so even with what happened recently to Cantamanto, the whole place took a blaze.
Yeah. For those watching who don't know, Cantamanto is the biggest secondhand clothes market in Ghana. It's been known that millions and millions of secondhand clothes get shipped to Ghana from around the world. This has actually become one of the biggest places that receives secondhand clothes. And so that market had, I think, I keep reading different reports. So one report said 10,000 traders, one said up to 30,000 traders, and 9 acres of that market completely decimated in fire at the beginning of this year. And that was what, January 1st or 2nd,
January
I think.
1st. It happened the night of January 1st.
Yeah. So they woke up January 2nd and the place is ablaze.
Yeah.
And so that's the market he's talking about.
Yeah. So that market, that's where I do my business at when I'm in Ghana. So it impacted me when that happened. And the people that I do business with there are like, I see them as, what's up? You know what I'm saying? The energy is there. It's just a different relationship. Even the contracts that we have at retail stores, you know, when I show up to the retail store and my products are on the shelf and things like that, I just don't get that type of energy. So it's much easier for me to do business here in Ghana than it is for the States. And I think that has a lot to do with the culture, you know, how old school it is. And before I used to think like, when I first came here, I'm like, man, this place could be revolutionized and industry and this and that and buildings. And now that I'm seeing how things work and why things are, what makes Cantamanto special is the cheap ceilings and the cheap wood and like the sun coming through every single crevice that you take. And it's just very crowded. And like, that's what makes Cantamanto special. It's not building a concrete building and then having section like that. It's not gonna feel the same. So I realized that the culture, how they're preserving the culture and how they're, you know, still pounding fufu with a stick. I'm sure there's machines that can pound fufu, but they preserve that culture part. And I think that's what makes everything so special. That's what makes Ghana so special. So now that I like, you know, have come to that awareness, I appreciate it way much more, you know, and I'm even thinking about how can we, I don't know what the word is, but you know how LA is more advanced, you know, we're way more advanced in things, but I think it wouldn't hurt to unadvance in some areas. So I don't know, that idea came to mind after I realized what made Cantamanto so special. But yeah, I mean, it's way easier, especially for me being so young and being Black. Is, you know, I could move a mountain here if I wanted to. I can't do that in the States.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of Black people say, young Black people especially, when they come to Ghana, is that although it has its challenges in the country, the fact is that you have an opportunity to do stuff that maybe you wouldn't be able to do over there. As a matter of fact, there's one man, Kivoy Burton. He's Jamaican. He moved to Ghana 4 years ago as well. 2020, he moved to Ghana. And he said that he thought about, like, he knows like a lot of Jamaicans, they'll move to the US, they'll move to the UK and, you know, or Canada. And he was like, he didn't want to do that. He wanted to come to Ghana because he saw it as a place where there's no glass ceiling. Yeah,
there is no glass. And that's what really is coming to my mind as I was talking. Just there's no glass ceiling here.
Yeah.
There isn't, you know, there's no like systematic glass ceiling here. And that's the best way to put it. There's no glass ceiling here.
The sky's your limit.
Yes, the sky's literally your limit. So that's why I'm just flexing the way that I be flexing is because, yeah.
Your business that you've been doing, you said that you did some of your business in Cantonmento and it's affected you. What are you going to be doing now that the place is completely gone? There's nothing there now.
Yeah, so they started rebuilding.
Already?
Yeah, they started rebuilding already. As of right now, I think the focus is to work with people who have backstock and who just didn't have inventory in their fire. And just taking it one day at a time. I mean, you know, I've bought like some raw materials that are still sitting at my shop that we haven't touched yet. So we're just gonna, you know, take everything that hasn't been touched and just try and create products out of it. I mean, I got orders pending right now that I need to fulfill. So, you know, I just have to call them and say, hey, look, this happened. This is what I have. Will you take it? You know, I just have to like bend around the curves that are coming. But, you know, I think I was already innovating before the fire happened. So there's a lot of things that I have that I haven't brung out that would be good during this time. So, you know, we're still moving. Yeah, I just started a new thing recently, and anytime you start something new, it's very difficult. But the new thing that I started is actually pretty successful.
What is it?
It's a clothing line.
What's the name of the clothing line?
It's called Cassava.
Cassava?
Yeah.
Is this what some of your clothing?
Yeah, I made this.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is part of the Fufu collection.
The Fufu collection.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
If you've never been to Ghana, and you come to Ghana, one of the dishes that you want to try is fufu. For me, I fell in love with fufu, and it pains me already when I leave back to the States. Like it's like going through a breakup. Every time I get back on the plane and go back to the States, it's like my heart is just shattered. And it's a lot of things that I can take with me from Ghana to the US, and fufu is something that I can't take.
You can't, because they have what they call the neat fufu that, I don't know if you've seen that before. It's not the same.
It's not, nothing's
like
going to
in
be
a box.
the same.
It's like in a box, and it's like this flaky powder, and they mix it in the pot. It's not the same.
Nope. Don't even. You can't. You just, some experiences you get from the source. You can't authentic. Do not eat box fufu. That is crazy. That is crazy. So yeah.
And what soup do you like with it? The different
palm
soups.
nut soup.
Palm nut soup.
Yeah,
I like palm nut soup too.
Yeah.
But sometimes I mix the soups. People think I'm strange. Sometimes I like to mix the palm nut soup with the light soup, like mix it.
Oh.
Sometimes I do that.
I don't like light soup at all. So yeah, I don't understand.
Or I mix it with the peanut soup sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've had the peanut soup, groundnut soup.
But that one
was
is
the first one I had.
The groundnut soup, which is peanut soup, groundnut soup. I usually prefer that with amutuo. For those who don't know, amutuo are like rice balls.
Oh, okay. I haven't had the rice balls yet. Yeah, but I like the fufu. And so the purpose or the story, you know, is this trip I'll be able to take fufu back with me.
With the clothing line.
With the clothing line. Yeah, and so for me, it's not something that I'm pushing to, you know, make money. It's a story. You know, I'm trying to promote Ghana in the best way possible. Honestly, Ghana, I don't know who is watching, but if you are in Ghana, like, I'm one of the best promoters there is organically. I love Ghana with a passion. I tell people about Ghana so much. A lot of my friends and family, they watch my story every day, and they're just like, yo, I want to come to Ghana. I want to come to Ghana. I want to come to Ghana. You make Ghana look like this. And I'm like, Ghana is everything I'm saying it is. I'm not, you know, capping about anything. You know, if I put my name on something, if I say something's good, I'm putting my name on it. So I make sure that it's good. Ghana is one of the best places in the world. Okay, I put that on my name. It's one of the best places in the world, and I'm genuinely in love with it. So I promote Ghana in every single way when I'm back home. Sometimes it annoys people, but I work in corporate companies. I have corporate relationships. And when I'm in the office, they're like, oh, Roman, how was Ghana? You know, random conversations. Oh, so you the guy that's from Ghana. Like, you know, so people know Ghana is where it's at. I'm from the Crenshaw district. So, you know, a lot of people that know me in Leimert Park know that I'm associated with Ghana. That's like, Ghana and my name go together where I'm from now. So yeah, I love Ghana so much. It's the best place.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. What were we talking about before that?
I can see that because we were talking about your clothing line.
Yeah.
And you said you're taking a piece of thing
So
Fufu.
the clothing line is how I'm carrying the flag over. You know, like for me, this represents the red, yellow, green flag with the black star on it. Like this is what represents Ghana. So I'm taking Ghana back with me, and I'm not like selling to everybody. I'm just like, hey, look, this is my brand. It's called Fufu. This is where Fufu is from. I like who you are, so I want you to wear it. That's how I'm going about the marketing. So I'm not just like selling it to the masses. It's a story. It's almost like an invitation to come to Ghana. Yeah, imagine somebody giving you like a dress and like, yo, look, this is from Ghana. This is what Ghana means to me. I think this will look good on you. So be inspired. Yeah, so that's the purpose behind the clothing. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Your love for Ghana, do your family members have the same feeling? Like, how many of you are here?
Yeah. So right now, you know, my uncle got married.
Your uncle got married?
Yeah.
He found himself someone from Ghana, or he brought someone from?
No, from Ghana. So my uncle is the oldest one in our family now. After my grandma passed, my uncle is the oldest.
I'm sorry to hear about your grandma passing.
Yeah, thank you. It's, you know, it's a good thing. You know, not that she passed, but it's a good thing that she passed here. She got to experience it.
She passed in Ghana.
Yeah.
How old was she?
Ghana. She was 84 or 85. So my uncle is past 60, I think. He might be either 69 or 73, in between those. But he's the oldest. And anytime like I want a good conversation, you know I can go to my grandma's house and I tell my uncle about something that just happened in my day. He's like, yeah, you know, Roman, you can never do that in the States. And, you know, this is why I love Ghana so much. You know, our people need to be free. And I can always have that deep root Afrocentric conversation with him. And it's with anybody that has moved. I can't talk about that conversation with people that haven't been here because they don't know. But you know, I can have that conversation with my uncle for 6 hours straight. We can talk in the kitchen just about how amazing Ghana is. So I think, you know, my family also shares the same passion. And they haven't moved back to the States since they got here. You know, for me, I moved back and forth. I'm still young. I really need to, you know, establish myself. And my name back in the States carries a little bit more weight than it does here. You know, so people know me. People are like, okay, you know, I have a lot of business inquiries and stuff like that. So that's why I go back and forth, because I make most of my money in the States.
Okay.
But that's changing. And I think that's the beauty of just about what I'm doing, is because eventually I can come here and I can stay here and I won't have to leave. You know, and then it's like I have access to this space where there's no glass ceiling, and I can't even imagine what I'm going to do once I, you know, really like, all right, let's do this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what that's like.
That's good. And your grandmother passed here. Did you guys take her back home to the U.S.?
No. She was very specific about where she wanted to be.
So she said she wanted to be buried here?
Yeah.
How was the ceremony?
It was huge. So we had ceremony here, and then we had ceremony in the States, like via Zoom. And then one thing my grandma did before she passed was she did this, what is it called? It's like called a video diary. So during her, you know, just ceremony process, we watched a video of her, and she was like, hey, everybody, you know, by the time you're watching this, I'm passed. And so she pretty much said everything that we needed to know, said who's who, how she felt about things. So, you know, she was very specific about Ghana and how it made her feel. And another thing is my family is a pretty big family. We established many different churches back in the States in Los Angeles. And
Oh, really?
yeah, so, our family owns a really big church in Hawthorne. And that was where everybody like met up. And so the whole church was full, from the front to the back. And people that I don't even know, showed up. And, it was a big deal, my grandma passing. She was the first Black woman to create a fashion show back in 70s, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. So she
And she did it in California or somewhere
in
else?
California. Yeah, Ladera Heights. She created the first fashion runway. Back in the 70s, probably earlier than that. I was a baby when I was going to her fashion shows. Yeah, she would export clothes from all around the world. Everybody knew her for fashion, so she was a big deal in the fashion industry. And she talks about stories how when she was growing up, they told her that she couldn't do fashion. There was still a lot of segregation when she was growing up, so she faced those racism challenges, but she still followed her dreams. And one of the biggest fashion names in Los Angeles.
What was her name?
Rebecca Price.
Rebecca Price. I'm gonna have to look her up. I don't know why I don't know about her. You see, there's so many things that Black history that a lot of times we don't know.
Silent.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to work in fashion before I started doing media work.
Yeah.
So
I learned that.
I would like to.
Yeah, so she inspired a lot of my fashion sense. I get a lot of that from her.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, even when it comes to design, if you ever come to our house, she designed the whole house. Yeah, and it looks like something you would see in a palace. Yeah, crystal, like everything, gold, forks, all that. So yeah, she's very serious about aesthetics.
Wow, that's good that you had a good relationship with her.
Yeah, she was my queen.
Yeah,
she was my queen.
Yeah, that's nice. So now, what is next for you, being here in Ghana? Because I know people also follow you on social media for your storytelling, because you do some good storytelling.
Yeah.
You have a lot of good videos. Content. Yeah, a lot of good content showing your experiences in Ghana. When I watch your stories and just point of view of someone who was in America but now you're in Ghana, and the exhilarating feeling
people love
behind it. Is content creation something that you also want to build along with your fashion line and other endeavors?
Yeah, so as a young man, one of my dreams was to be a YouTuber. Even though I was like making buku money selling chips and candy, I always wanted to be a YouTuber. So I tried my hand at it. I just didn't have the confidence. So I never grew in it. But now I'm in a place where like I don't even need confidence like that. So I've been being more consistent with it and I'm getting better at it. And then another thing too is I started a marketing company. So a lot of people hire me for videography services.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's actually where I make a lot of my money now, is my marketing company. So it's a diaspora marketing company that I started in October of last year, but I founded the idea when I came to Ghana, and I realized that for me to be happy and for me to like call Ghana my home and to really be who I want to be, I got to make sure that anybody else that makes that transition that's at least my age is taken care of in some type of way. And so if there's some power that God has bestowed upon me, I'm going to use that power to take care of them. And so the marketing agency is my way of doing that. So I have a few diasporans, even that you may have met. I think you may have met a few at the event yesterday that were there, and they work within the agency. And so I give them job opportunities. We service a lot of companies in the States. And so we make an American income, which is, something that you can sustain on. So that's where I make like a bulk of my money now. That's what's paying my bills right now is my marketing agency.
What's the name of the agency?
Romans Global Agency.
Romans Global Agency.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I named it after myself because it's my legacy that I'm starting now. So that when I passed away, people know like, okay, Roman was actually for the people trying to do something. So yeah, so Romans Global Agency, and we provide social media, videography, photography, graphic design, video editing, everything in that creative media space. And then I have another company that came after that during the Influencers Fest of last year, which is Roman's Global Foundation. And it's a nonprofit that supports creative artists, artisans, anybody that's a creative. Yeah, so Epic, for example, you know, that comes from my foundation, just being able to do that. So that's like, you know, my way of giving back to the community, but also making sure that if any diasporans come here and you're like between the age of like, let's say 18, 19 to 29, you know, and you need a job opportunity, we building over here so that you can have something to sustain on. You know, you can start as an intern for a few months, learn. If you don't have the skill sets, we'll teach you. And then I think it's a paid internship as well. So we pay you to learn. And then, you know, from there, you just become a full-time at whatever it is you're doing, whether it's website development, graphic design. And, you know, me as a CEO, what I do is I go to the States and I get contracts. So I get contracts with corporate companies that need the services, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a government company, whatever it is, you know. So right now we have a contract with the city of Los Angeles, and I service them all of their website design needs.
That's great.
So yeah,
that's really great.
Anytime there's like entrepreneurs that come and are like starting a business, you know how the government will give out different grants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my company is considered a grant, you know. So let's say you have a clothing line and you get your LLC filed and you're like, oh, you know, I need help. They'll be like, okay, we're gonna give you 30 hours to work with Roman's Global Agency to build your website, to get your web, your media, this and that. So that's how that works. And then, you know, I just find different contracts that I can come bring back so that everybody has some money in their pocket.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And your mom is here.
My mom is not here. My mom and my sister and my other uncle are the only ones that haven't came over.
Okay.
Yeah. My sister's in the military right now, though.
So she's in a different. That's a different situation. Yeah.
She's set.
Yeah, and when you're in the military, you can't just easily be like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
you
I'm
can't
leaving
just
to
go
go here."
anywhere.
Yeah. You have to go where they send
they put you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What do your friends and family members that are still there, what do they think when they see, you know, how you've been able to start building a business here, and do they feel like, oh my God, he's really doing it? Like,
yeah, I think I was at my family church before I took my flight here, and the first lady, you know, who's a family member of mine, she's my cousin. She was like introducing me to everybody and was like, yeah, you know, he goes to Ghana and he makes bags, and, you know, she was, you know, very excited about just sharing that story. So, you know, they're aware, and you know, they like to talk about it, like, yeah, you know, he goes to Ghana and he does this and he does that. So, you know, they have some pride in what I do.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You exploring all over the place. I want to know, what's your favorite place so far in Ghana that you've been?
Kantamanto.
And now it's
Kantamanto,
gone.
hands
That's so
down.
sad.
Hands down, it's Kantamanto. I'm in love with Kantamanto. That's one of the best places I've ever experienced in Ghana. Separate from, you know, all the tourism and things like that. I mean, if I could go to Kantamanto every day without all the stress that is required, I would. You know, if
there's stress required, but you loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. You know, it was good stress. So yeah, Kantamanto is the best place, especially if you love fashion. Kantamanto, I mean, nothing gets better than that. I mean, imagine, okay, if you thrift at all.
It was the place.
Thrift on steroids times 100. I'm talking about like any brand that you can imagine, brands that you probably never heard of, you know, like everything was there. I mean.
And they had like you would see there were all these like sewing machines in parts of it where people were actually, some of them repurposing some things. Yeah, they were like repurposing things. Yeah. You know, things that you think can't be fixed.
They're fixing.
But and making them look fresh.
So yeah, Kantamanto was one of the best places for me, for what I do. Let me see, what else was a place that I really enjoyed? think it's just Contamanto.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay. You know, a brewery. A brewery, I get to tap into the nature side of, you know, just being a human, putting your feet on grass, you know, kind of getting away from the city, getting away from the world. You know, a brewery is a nice place to visit and to escape to. Or you know what? Axine. So that's where my
Oh yeah,
uncle
where
bought
your
the
uncle built
property.
the place.
Yeah. And we went there and we stayed for a week. And that was the first time in my life where I did nothing. I
It's a
just woke up.
peaceful, the Western region is very peaceful.
Yeah, yeah, and it was right next to the beach, and so the coconuts were so fresh, and I think that was where I was able to reset, and that's when I got like the energy to do Haven Made for what it is now. That was where I gathered that energy. So I went there for the first time in my life and just did nothing but ate food and woke up and sat on the beach. So if you haven't done that before, I feel like you should definitely do that. If you're looking to visit Ghana, Axim is a beautiful place. You could visit for a week. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just wake up on the beach, eat food, maybe go to the city and just walk around, shop, go back, sit down and lay down and just do that for a week straight. You will become a new person. That experience was life-changing. Yeah, it was life-changing. So Axim, it's great. And Contamanto, the best. They're rebuilding it right now. So, you know, it's the heart of, to me, is one of the biggest hearts of Ghana, you know, as far as the economy and as far as something being for the people of Ghana, that's Contamanto, Circle, you know, the different trade places. So, yeah.
Well, Roman, this has been a really, really engaging conversation. I've learned a lot about you.
Yeah.
And I can feel the energy of how much you love Ghana.
Yes.
And how much Ghana is in you. It's like this spiritual connection. Like you just love it. And anyone who has seen your social media, you should check out his social media and watch how he tells the stories of Ghana and his experiences, even like bite-sized videos, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and you feel like it's pulling you in, like, oh yeah, you know. And then your raw, authentic storytelling. I saw when you fell off the bike.
Yeah, I keep it 100, and some people, like, they don't like that. Oh, you know, they complain, but I feel like if you're a content creator, you had a responsibility of showing the good, but also showing the bad. And so for me, I keep it 100. That's why I show the bad. You know, it's not to vent on social media or to tell the bad story, but like, if I'm gonna show you the good, I'm gonna show you the bad too, so you can have a true perspective. So yeah, I got into a accident and my ankle's swollen, but you know, I'm good now.
Yeah, how's it now? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm much better.
Good.
I'm still rolling, you know.
Are you still riding the bike?
Occasionally.
People who love bikes, I mean, even when you have an accident, you get back on again.
Yeah, it's a deeper reason, and it's something not too many people know about, but the bike life was my therapy growing up. So how I was coping with having guns put out on me and being robbed and things like that was my bike. And so that's why I'm not stepping away from it. Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts you want to share with people who, you know, are watching you and thinking about coming to Ghana?
Yeah. I would say, well, I don't know what all you have going on as far as like how you introduce people to Ghana, but I feel like especially for the older community, because I find that it's a lot of older people coming to Ghana. I would say that if you visit, you know, if you were to like, when you buy packages and stuff like that, it can be very expensive. So if you know somebody that's here that can kind of help curate your trip, you would save a lot of money, but then you would get to experience the raw, authentic things that Ghana has to offer. It's cool going to see the tourist sites and everything like that, but if you come into Ghana to like thinking about moving, you want it to be raw. So if you know somebody like her that you could work with to just, you know, point you in the right direction, that's better than buy a package. But I know that people are doing that. And then secondly, if you're young and you're watching this, you're like my age, I just turned 27. and you want to move to Ghana and you're thinking about careers and things and stuff like that, if you're into fashion, especially, you definitely want to visit Ghana. There's a place here for you. I promise you, there's a place here for you. You can come here. You can live your best life, okay? Check out my social media and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. None of what I'm saying is cap. You come here, live your best life, and be free, especially if you come from gang culture. Okay, to all my gang members that's out there that's trying to escape and not trying to keep that energy, you can come here. I'm telling you, bro, you can be free. You can change your whole life, your whole story around. So that's my piece to y'all. What's
your handle for them to follow you?
Okay, so my Instagram is Tarzan of L.A. Okay, so that's a long story, but Tarzan.
Tarzan.
Yeah. I really love, the jungle and stuff like that. And then my YouTube is Roman Combs. My YouTube is my name, so you can find me there.
Awesome. Thank you, Roman.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think your story is important because young people need to know that. Yeah. It's a great place to be, and it's not only
beautiful place.
It's not only the parties.
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
Yeah, and it opens up doors for you. When I go to the States and I tell people what I'm doing in Ghana, they look at me differently. So it opens up doors for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation. Check him out on social media so you can follow his story, his journey, his clothing line. You have a website for the clothing line, or is it Instagram that they can follow for the clothing line?
Yeah. Just hit me up on Instagram. You'll see everything kind of take place. We do have a company Instagram. It's called kasav.co. And we're developing it. It just started like a few weeks ago. But we already selling to UK and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's why I said it just started and it's already successful.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's coming.
So hit him up and then you can get all the information on getting some of his products, the bags, the clothes, and just follow him just to see his journey and how that could be your journey too.
Exactly.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you. Don't forget to share this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Thank you. I'll see you again next time.